Let's see. Okay, just making sure that I'm live everywhere where I need to be live. It seems like everything is working fine. Let me just get TikTok online. Okay. Welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is George Mokwena. I am your host, and this, of course, is the place where we get to talk football, some South African football, and every now and then we go over to Europe, man, and we go see what's happening that side. Please remember the show is on every Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. That's where you can find me here, unless there's either Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, Bafana, Banyana, or even Banyana style and UWC when they go to the Champions League. We'll also be here doing a watch along of those games. So tomorrow, Banyana is going to start us off at 6 o'clock, and then at 7 o'clock, we're going to be here for the Paris game as well. So we'll dual watch those two games. So welcome everybody. Please remember, if you want to become a member of the WhatsApp group, head on over to YouTube and then click on subscribe and click on join. I'll let you in and we can have conversations. Now, I've skipped the intro today. You guys know there's a whole intro. I've skipped the intro today because I have somebody here who has come through to speak to us a little bit here at the Overthinking Football Show. And I want to get into it now. This is a man who is a Bafana international. He's played for Ajax, he played for Supersport. Mpumalanga Black Aces, Cape Town City, Khanye Sport, and also Kaizer Chiefs. And he's got the nickname Kaka. And you know, you don't just get the nickname Kaka and J out of the blue. So I have coach who's also won. Yeah, before I forget, somebody who's also won the Player of the Year in the PSL as well. I have coach Manyama here. Let me just get to him. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. Good evening to everyone and good evening to yourself.
Have you gotten used to being called coach?
It depends, though. It depends because most of the guys I've played with, so it's a bit weird with them. But yeah, with the younger ones, it's a bit more natural.
Okay.
But guys like Tammy, Tabo, Tamu, Fortune, it's a bit weird because I played with them. But yeah, getting used to it day by day.
So you've basically been in the job just over a year now. It's been over a year. How was your idea of coaching changed? I always want to know, like, from a person who's been a coach and who's been a player and is now coaching, how has your idea of coaching changed? How do you feel about coaching right now?
Stressful. Nah, man, but it's good stress, I think. I think for me, the transition wasn't really much of a hassle because I think naturally, even as a player, I was quite a vocal person on the field, led in the front most times. So became a bit more like just carrying on from that. So basically, I just try to help with the guys that can't really communicate with the coach on a level that probably I can, you know, because some guys are really shy, shell. So I just try to help those that can't, you know, but obviously try to teach them also to be a bit more open because in football you have to speak. You can't play silent.
Yeah. But then what are the things that maybe as a player you didn't understand as a player, but then now as a coach, you're like, I'm a new coach, man. There was something he was doing there and I didn't get it as a coach, but now as a player, but now that I see it on the other side, there's something there that maybe you're learning.
It's quite a lot, eh? It's quite a lot. I didn't know, especially when you're working under a coach that really works as hard as Coach Eric. You get to learn a lot of things about the coaching side. You know, it's not just picking the first 11 and going to the match. It's the whole preparing the schedule for probably 40 people, you know, for a month, planning sessions, obviously trying to make those sessions entertaining also. It's another hassle, you know. So you learn all those things, you know. But as a player, obviously, you just wake up, get ready for training. You get the setup when you get there. And as a coach, now you have to set up.
Yeah.
You have to make sure they straight line. There are a lot of things, man, that are different that you kind of realize that coaches do have a lot of work to do, and I think that's why they grow gray hair very quickly.
So I like that. In the setup of the game, how much goes into then, getting to know the players, doing all of those type of things? Is it something you took for granted before, and now, man, you have to know each person, how to treat them, how to do all that? Have you been how have you been coping with that side of it?
Uh, Look, it's quite different, because now you have to really, really put yourself in people's shoes before you really speak. Because obviously, when you speak, you're no longer talking to one person. It's a group, obviously. So you have to make sure that everybody is treated equally. You make sure that everybody gets to feel, let me say, the confidence coming from you, like from myself to everyone. The energy must be the same. So, and teaches you a bit more to be patient. Because as a player, you don't really think of those things, but when you now not playing, you kind of realize that the players really, really need the support, and you can't really, really be thinking about yourself. So you have to really, really think and put yourself in their shoes and try to just deal with the situation from then on. But yeah, I mean, for me, obviously, because I've played for so many years, it's not really difficult to do, because I was there before, so I really relate a lot with what happens on the pitch. And obviously, I've just stopped playing. It's not so long ago, so it's still fresh in my mind. So sometimes I feel like I'm the one playing, even when I'm outside, and I think it helps me a lot also. It also helps the other guys to be more calm, because I help them deal with a lot of situations, because I also see myself a bit more on the pitch when they play.
Well, I've seen you on the pitch. I've seen some of those clips. It almost feels like, man, you remind them a little bit like, hey, you guys are good, but you haven't won the awards that I want. You can't do what I do. I've seen those clips, so you show them, man, where to go. Is there any difference between your generation of players? And I know you're not that old, but is there a difference between your generation of players and some of the younger players that are coming through? And how do you bridge that gap? If there are differences there?
No, it's not really much of a difference. I think when we were also coming up at the age of let me say Rile, Mfundo, Vert boy, maybe to a certain extent, I think we were also probably put on the same pedestal. So I think it's quite normal to have a generation coming up playing. I think the worst thing to do, and it's quite a lot in our country, is to now draw comparisons. I think it's different times, and I think the style of football has changed a lot. The modern game is evolving each and every day. It's no longer the same as 10 years ago, or probably even 5 years ago. So to compare, the game is a bit, it's a bit quicker. It's a bit more tactical. What else, probably when I was still at Ajax, I think it was a bit more pound to pound each and every. But now it's a bit more tactical with all the modern things that have come into the game. So to compare, for me, it's a bit weird because it's different generations that you can't really compare. But if you ask me about players like, for example, Mshishi and Serrero, I can probably compare them because these are players that have played in the same probably time. They were at their peak at the same time, even though they still very well. But you get what I'm saying. They're probably in the 90s more than they are in the 2000s. So for me, that's how I see it. I think there's not much of a difference. I think it's just the football cycle doing what it does every time. And I think now it's time for others to come. I think we should embrace that instead of comparing and competing and trying to see who's better than who.
Do you think that if we're talking environments, are there any things that maybe you're seeing now around football and how players are treated and how players come through? Is there anything different that maybe you may have wished that you guys would have had early on in your careers? Do you see any difference in the coaching styles and things like that?
I think in my generation, we lacked a bit more, let me say, coaches that probably played the generation before us. I think we lacked a bit more coaches than now. But you see now the people that have just retired, you can even see in Europe, guys are just retiring and next thing they're coaches. The amount of people that are coaching in Europe were playing not so long ago. You know, coaches like Steven Gerrard, Lampard, are people that we just saw now. Iniesta just retired last 2 weeks back. He's already doing his course, you know. So I think we lacked a bit of that. And when I see now myself and other people that have played the game also going into coaching and other guys also being very keen on it, I think it's very good because I think players like myself are still fresh in the mind because the youngsters that are probably playing now saw players like myself and a couple of others at our prime. So we were probably people they looked up to. And now all of a sudden, when you get a coach that you have looked up to coaching you, I think it's an extra motivation. And I think our generation lacked a bit of that. There weren't really a lot of coaches from the generation before us, I think.
Coach, let's go into social media. Obviously, I'm a social media commentator of this stuff, a sportscaster on social media. You played for one of the biggest teams in the country. How do you feel about social media and its impact on players and other things that maybe us fans don't realize when from the point of view, guys, and maybe even from now as a coach?
Look, social media is, I think it's a topic that probably everybody will probably have their own point of view as to how they see it and how it influences their lives. Because to be quite honest, it has enriched certain lives and a lot of lives. But it was also, I think, distracted a lot, even more lives also on the negative side of it. So it's got its pros and it's got its cons. But I think when you play football, I don't think you should be into it. Of course, you want to be involved with the fans because the fans pay their hard-earned money to come watch you. But you must be careful. You must be careful as to where it gets to. I think have limits, have boundaries to a certain extent because it can make you, but it can also break you. You know, because if everybody has access to you and they can just say everything they want, and you are also sitting and watching it all the time, there's no way you can ignore somebody saying anything negative about you. You see, if you see it, it's gonna be in your head. If you get what I'm saying, you know. And it's also difficult to avoid because probably things we like are probably there on the social media also. If you wanna see beautiful cars, they're there. Beautiful places, they're on social media. So it's difficult to avoid. It's got its pros and cons, but I think it's just how you use it and how you see it and make sure that it doesn't ruin what you're doing or your craft as per se. Just make sure also it doesn't distract that and it doesn't really become the reason you do what you do also.
How did you cope with it? How did you cope with it when you were a player? I mean, I'm sure, man, Kaizer Chiefs, the moment something happened, I'm sure the notifications, the trending and all of that stuff. How did you deal with it as a player? I've always wanted to know.
It's quite difficult, but luckily, you know, obviously, like you said, I was playing at probably the biggest team in the country in terms of fan base. There's a lot of fans on social media, and even in person, there are a lot of fans. So obviously, the notifications were quite a lot. But luckily, like you said, Chiefs, like I said, Chiefs is a big team. We were luckily given social media classes, so we knew how to deal with it. And even the players are that other day now, I think they're still getting it, and they know how to deal with the social media in terms of what to post or what not to post, or just to be careful about all of it.
Tell me about Coach Tinkler. I think sometimes we tend to. I've always said here on the channel that we tend to downplay our local coaches, and we sort of treat them like they are, you know, placeholders, man. Kebatu Fela, who just so happen to be coaching teams. Tell me about Coach Tinkler. What are some of the things that you're learning from him and him as a coach? How is he as a person too?
I think going back from when I was still playing, I think the one thing that caught me or that caught my eye and still I think amazes me about him till today is that he played all the games in 96 AFCON, but he's probably the most quiet person about it. I always, I always ask him, like, did you really play all the games? And he says, yeah. And I'm like, but we won and you played all the games, meaning you were playing well.
Yeah.
So, but why do you never ever talk about it, But he's that kind of person. I think he cares more about others, probably more than he cares about himself, But I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, he's just so selfless, and I think that level of humility also caught me very early, and I respected that about him. That as much as he's achieved what he's achieved as a footballer, because he also played in Europe for I think his whole career, if I'm not mistaken, because I was quite young also. But he played in Europe for quite a while, and which means if he stayed in Europe for so long in those kind of countries with the level of quality of players that come out of countries like Italy, Portugal, it does tell you that he was really a good player, but he's never really put himself out there to say, remember me, I also did it, I was there. Not that other people do it, but obviously you also want to put yourself sometimes and say, I once did that, but he never really gets on with. I think all he cares about is probably the next day, the next game, the next training session for him. But yeah, I mean, it's just the level of humility that caught me, and I think we got on so well up until now that he could trust me to be next to him. I think it came from that, the relationship we had when I was a player. And like I said, probably one of the most hardworking coaches I've ever worked with, even when I was a player, But now, obviously, being next to him as his assistant, you see it even more. That sometimes we even ask him to take it easy a bit on off days, but he never stops. He just loves working, And I remember this one time he said the one thing that makes him to never stop working is that he never stopped chasing the dream because he's never got to it, And I think that's what keeps him going. Yeah, that's what I learned from him. But yeah, quite a very chill guy. Obviously, as you can see, gives chances to a lot of young stars, which we like at club, And obviously, it's very good for the country. And yeah, I mean, everybody here just respects his job, and we really appreciate what he does for all of us.
Look, if I played for Bafana in all those games, I don't know, I'd probably have a record for the amount of times you can post the same picture of you with the trophy over and over and over again. As somebody who got to, you were one of, at your peak, you were one of the best players in the country. And, you are mesmerizing us every single week. What is it that made you different from others? And do you think that maybe there's some, I don't know, developmental or structural things that stop other players from, getting to the top?
I think the one thing that made me to join, I always say, I have time for football. So it's just learning. Even now, you can probably see my eyes. I'm watching football.
Yeah.
I have time for football. Because obviously I came from LX with no development. My parents only allowed me to probably take football seriously after I finished my matric. So I didn't go to any development. So the guys that I played with were years ahead of me because they were probably at better academies. And I think when I got to Ajax, I realized that because most of the players there grew up there and learned a lot in those years, in their junior years, I had to catch up, So the best way to do that is to watch a lot of football, to train a lot, and to obviously pick up also from certain players that are really, really good, players like Tulani Ferro, Helen Klassen, when they were still at Ajax, George Maluleka, Reynolds Scott, more the guys that played in the midfield, the attackers, Kama, Terra Fantini, the top players, Brent Carroll, obviously the spirit of Nhlanhla Shabalala, the never give up attitude that he had also rubbed off on us very, very well. So I was just a mixture of a player that learned a lot from watching other players, but also watching football as a whole. But also I was very, very brave to try on stuff, but also I also tried things because I also did them at training a lot, and I had the confidence to just try and get because I'd known that I've finished the whole week trying to do something, and I knew I'd do it very well on match day.
Do you think that there's a gap somewhere in development? Do you think that there's a gap somewhere, or maybe is it that as a public in general, do we love football like that as South Africans?
Yeah, I think we love football a lot. What I'd like us to, I think, to have more, and I'm not saying we don't have, I think it's the patience, I think we are a country that wants to do something now and get results now. And sometimes the results take long. Sometimes processes don't come out the way you've planned,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that you failed at the beginning. So sometimes it takes a good time to learn certain things that you probably would have missed if you had rushed to get to the top quickly. I'd make an example like our current national team. When they started, we all doubted, to be quite honest,
Yeah.
myself included.
Yeah.
I got worried when all the seniors were not removed, but probably replaced with the new guys. You get a bit worried to think, where are we going? But if you look until now, I think we've all realized that we all made a mistake by not trusting that process, and look where it's gotten us now. And I think it's a lesson that we should take, that sometimes it will work out well as you planned and it turns out very well, but sometimes it takes long. And I think it took long, and eventually we got it there. And even the players that were taken off at the beginning, your Mshishis, came back and added even the value that we thought they would add. And maybe that's what we needed. So sometimes patience, I think, is what we need as a country to try to get our players to a level that we can really, really get them to. But results are just one thing that I think we play for in the country, and it's a bit of a challenge also.
I like that. I want to ask you then. We often have a conversation on the show where we speak about how, as South African fans or as South African football people, man rata shugela, man rata that entertainment. Are we ready to play quote unquote uglier football? Where do you land on that? Because Hugo Bruce was often people often complain that he wasn't playing South African football, and it looked a certain way. Where do you land on that? Do you think that we're too in love at times with a certain kind of football, and maybe we're not ready to expand, especially when you see like your Cape Town Cities and your Supersport maybe doing something different? How do you feel about those things?
Football is one, man. I think football is diverse in a way that you can play it in any way that you want, I think.
Yeah.
But obviously, like I said, uh, I think we are just caught up between the showboating and the dribbling, just to when and where we want it. Because sometimes we see it, and when the results are good, we see it and we embrace it. And sometimes we see it and the results don't go well, and we fight when it happens. So it's just a matter again of just drawing the line. I'm also not going to put myself in a spot where I pick a side, because I must be very careful with what I say also. But personally, I honestly also feel that players that have got the skill, when I say skill, I mean players that can make, for example, players that can go past players like Vinicius. Shouldn't be limited to playing. If he wants to go past 5 people, then let him do it, And if that's the kind of skill you are talking about, then I fully agree with it. But obviously, we still have our own, I think we call it gassy flavor, that we grew up also. It's part of our culture.
Yeah.
And if you're leading 4-0, you want to do that, do it. But obviously, it also comes also with how far do you want to take it? You don't want to do it to embarrass your opponents. Also, you must show respect to them also. But also, you want to do it to entertain the fans, So it's just finding the fine line between, drawing the line in between when and where to do it and how it's going to be done. But I don't have a problem with it. I think skillful players need to be allowed to do what they know best. But obviously, it has to come in with also helping out the team also with the results, because it has to be productive also after that. So if you can do that and end that with a shot or a goal, I'm up for it. Or even a miss, it's not a problem. But it's gotta be an action, But if you standing and juggling and just there's no movement, and especially the score is 0-0.
Yeah.
Look, I wouldn't have a problem with, but you're gonna have a problem with a lot of people in the country and wrong people at that time.
Are we too how do I put it? Are we too Eurocentric at times? Is there a way to take Kasi football and make it a world-beating type of system? Have we allowed ourselves that type of I don't know, time or the permission to do that? I don't know if you get me.
Yeah, I think you're saying we need permission to do it, or are we allowed to take it to that extent?
No, it's more to say that, we've got Kasi football and we've got players that are very good at certain things. Super technical, Yazluki Belipol and all of the stuff, I get it. But then is it possible to take that football and upgrade it and make it world class? Or do we have to look at the world and start changing those players the way that a lot of people have been speaking?
No, we cannot change. For example, I'll make like Jabu Pule was Jabu Pule. He used to cut in from the left, and even if you came in, no man has a need 10 in a line. He will cut all 10 of you, and he will go to his right foot. You understand? So you cannot change that. You cannot change him. That's him. That's if you understand. They look shy Alaska. They look shy Alaska. They hold for me.
Yeah.
Until there shouldn't be a problem. As long as like I said, as long as we create also, because to be brutally honest, if we want to say we want our players to go play in Europe, then we have to know that the numbers also count in football. How many goals, how many clean sheets, how many saves as a goalkeeper. That counts also. So if you are doing zonke lezinto esikhuluma ngazo and ushaya abantu nge-Alaska week in, week out, then after what's happening, are you assisting or are you scoring? I think we want to send players to Europe. So in Europe, it's a fact that the numbers count also. So as much as we want to enjoy and have fun and obviously entertain the crowd, as quality number. Okay? If we want to do the Kasi flavor, then I feel like Neneti Melikwale. And that's my opinion.
Okay, no. Look, I can't speak too much. When I've quality net, we know. But yeah, coach, all I want to say, coach, or the last thing I want to ask you, because I seem to be having some technical issues here, but the last thing I want to ask you, what is it that us as fans, maybe, we don't get about what you guys do, the jobs that you guys do, some of the perspectives that maybe you guys have? What is it that we don't understand? And maybe you can help us, build a bridge a little bit there.
I think the one thing that I can say is, one thing I think fans must know is that players never have a bad game on purpose. Or for me, I've never played a game thinking I've never played a game where I thought I'll never give my all. So I think fans must understand that part, that players sometimes do try their best. And like I said, you try your best and you play, and sometimes it doesn't go your way, And I feel sometimes, especially in our country, fans tend to think maybe must boom. But I don't think that's the intention. I think players really do try their best. And like I said, sometimes you have to I always say, wrap them up in a cotton wool and just protect them a bit so that we can have them for the next game. I don't think one game defines a play. I think that's where we must, give our players time to also not fail, but have bad games, because I feel like in bad games you learn more than when you're winning. Because when we're winning, we forget everything else other than the main prize. But when you're not doing well, I think that's where you improve. And you must have those days. And I think we must allow our players to have those days so that they can improve on their weaknesses, and hopefully they go and achieve bigger things than we've achieved.
Look, all I'll say is that you pet sleepy army man. You might not want to do it on purpose, but But anyway, no, I'm kidding. Guys, in the comments, I need 2 questions. Then we're going to let Coach go. I can't let you in on multi-guest. It seems that there's a bit of a performance thing that's happening here. So members, if you can drop a question or 2 there in the comments, then we can just let Coach enjoy the football. I see you, Coach. Hey, you're also taking care of that side. Coach, can I ask before, while I'm waiting for these questions, what team do you support that side?
Yeah. Man City.
Man City. Mara,
Yes. You mean more to that side?
Anywhere that side.
Oh, no, Man City. Man
Is it
City
a
and
contract? Is it a contract that, man, because you played for Cape Town City and you're now coaching Cape Town City, you can't now go to a United or something like that?
I think it was thing one. I moved from Arsenal, and Arsenal struggled. So when Wenger left, I was like, new team, and luckily Man City were starting their revolution at that time, and I was like, let me join this team with all the money. So luckily, now they are where they are. So I think I made the right choice.
Coach, you must suffer all together. I'm an Arsenal fan too. We must all suffer. No way.
But until when? You still suffering until now, much.
Don't be hurtful, Coach. Don't be hurtful. Coach, I've got a question here. Who was your toughest opponent when you were playing?
Toughest. Toughest. Oh, toughest. I played with a lot of Oaks that was very, very strong. Toughest. So to be quite honest, I never really thought of anybody very tough.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, yeah, it's not arrogance. It's just I was never really scared of anybody. But I think if there was somebody that I felt no, I'm trying to think who, like, no, like, who's really marked me, like, now who's with, like, this guy has been with me the whole game. Toughest. I think it's Long Msaba.
Okay.
I think Tyson. I think Tyson Msaba, you're like Tyson. Luckily Tyson was most of the time like on my team. Yeah, Tyson and Willard, I think. Yeah. Tyson and Willard, yeah, were strong. They're very, very strong. Yeah, I feel, but luckily we're good friends, so they Oh no, wait! I think the toughest guys to play were against. It was not one person, but I think I'll say a club, and I think a lot of people remember Free State Stars in Global Park.
Uncle, yes.
The West.
There you're fighting the weather too. You're fighting everyone.
Coach Steve Compella's Free Stars. And the trip also. And the trip. Coach Steve Compella's Free State Stars in Free State was the most difficult trip. I think a lot of people will tell you about going there. We all struggled. Struggled to play there. There was such a force there. They had Paulos there, Mataba, they had Makola. That team was very. There's a guy called Mashego. I forgot his name. He was a right back to go up. They had Plain Boy Taibos, Krotman. That team was powerful in Free State. Nobody wanted to play them there. I think that was the most difficult trip for me.
And then another. Yeah.
No, but as for an individual, no, not really. I think the guys that I was really afraid of were Tyson, Willard, and Paulo's now, yeah, because they were really, really strong.
Kana, you caught Paulos when he had transitioned from a striker, ne? He was now playing.
Yeah, he was a holding midfielder with 6 stats. Man, but he's also a good friend, so he never really kicked me a lot, but he was very, very strong also.
Here's another question. Let me see. What was the best moment of your career? Let's end it off with that one. What was your best moment of your career?
Yeah, I think just winning the player of the season was probably the most night of my life. And I think that year was really, really something special. But that night it's a night I don't forget, you know. It just sums up everything about my career.
When you're in that season, when you're in that season, coach, do you feel it as you're going along? Do you get to a point somewhere where you go, "Hi man, I've been too hot now"? Maybe you start questioning yourself. How does it go, man, when you have a hot season like that?
Yeah, at that time, I actually really, really think about it now. Like everything was just. It was not just happening because it was happening. I was just enjoying, just playing well, training well, living well. Like everything was just like Yonkinto wasn't perfect. There were obviously impilo is just impilo. You always have problems there and there. But like in terms of the sport side of things, I think everything was just Cape Town was beautiful that year. It's always beautiful, but like during that moment, I won't say I was on top of the world, but I just felt, and credit to the club also. I have to credit my teammates and the bosses, and obviously Coach Tinkler. But I think I felt confidence from a lot of people there, and I just drew on from that energy. Everybody just gave me good energy, and I felt trusted. And when you feel that sort of trust, it was just so beautiful to do it for. It wasn't only for myself, but to do it for all of them. And to be quite honest, I never really thought it would go. Like when you're having a season, but you don't really think, I'll be player of the season. But you're just going on, and you're just going on. You know what? When is the next game? Are we always like, when is the next game? After playing, who are we playing next? Oh, we're playing in 3 days. Okay, cool. Who are we playing? Oh, we're playing them. Oh, okay. When are they playing? Oh, they play tomorrow. Oh, we will watch them at 3. We were that kind of team. Oh, they're playing at 3. I will watch them together. We used to sit and watch teams together. Especially if it was would sit. I think that was the year Sundowns won CAF, I think, and we'll be sitting there because obviously, we got to a point where we felt maybe Sobabamba, as impossible as it sounds, because with them, so difficult. We actually thought, what, maybe Sobabamba, let's watch them, we care. And we used to sit and watch, as a group also, all of us, Aubrey, Parks, we used to watch the other teams, and that's how good we were as a group. And I think our energy was just so lovely. That's why I never really talk about that season as if I was the only one. I think I was just the crowning of unbelievable work we did as a group in that season.
Does Coach Tinkler ever pull you aside during that season and say something to you? It was Coach Tinkler. Does he pull you aside and give you advice? And would you, if you see somebody's hot right now, what do you say to them? Do you interrupt it? Do you let it go?
Look, I let them go. I let them go. I want them to be that hot. I would like to see a player play that well. It's so nice to see a player play that well, and just a player enjoying their moment. Because I feel like in football, everybody does really, really get their moment. Luckily, when you're an attacker, you get to be in the goal, so you get more of the spotlight, more than keepers and defenders, and maybe sometimes midfielders. But when you're scoring, getting man of the matches, getting awards there and there, it's such a nice feeling. And I'd like that for somebody else. So we also try to draw motivation for the current generation with some of the memories from there. You know, we try to show them how we did in that season, because that season, like I said, was a lot of teamwork and group work, and there was a lot of, I think, as a club we can draw a lot of inspiration from that season, because that season was special, you know, and was special, and especially when there's guys like me, Tabo, Tami, who were there. When you relive it to the other guys, they realize how big of a responsibility they have, but also how big of a blessing it is to play for a club like that. But it's also nice when you know that you've also given so much to such an institution, you know. So I also take pride in that. I gave so much to the club, and I'm also ready to give even more.
Last question, coach. From that time, who are the underrated players? Like, who are the players that maybe, you know, you spoke about Eric Tinkler being somebody who played all of the games for Bafana and was really good. Who are some of your teammates that you played with that were, man, they didn't make the headlines, they were underrated, but you feel as though, you know, they're really good at what they do?
Uh, Let me try. I'll try to name five.
Okay.
But I think the first one that comes to mind when everybody talks about underrated, I think a lot of people don't know how good Tato Mukeke is. I won't say was, because he hasn't retired yet. He hasn't said that he's retired. He was without a club, but Tato was something else. You know, whatever most, I think, I'll say favorite. You know, I think he's one of my favorite teammates I've ever had. In all the teams that I've played with Tato, it's so nice to play with Tato. We connect. Like, it's just automatic with me and him. And he's just one player that I think the country never really, really appreciated. But I think he's one player that, for me, a player like him is like a generational talent. He fits in all the generations Tato could suit on, play on nicely. We play Tato at left back, he plays football. You play him at center back, he still plays football. Plays in the midfield, he's a, you know, Tato's passing was something. And I think the country never really, really, really appreciated how good he is, you know. The second one, I wanted to say Ngoma, but I think Ngoma, everybody knows how
Yeah,
good he is. But obviously, yeah, in that season that we had, I think he's another one that I think people never really, really. They saw him in that season because we were so good together. But obviously, in the other clubs that he's played in, it never really, really got on, you know. But he's also another winger that I think was really, really underappreciated. But yeah, he's another player that I think is very, very, very good. And I think I also connected with him very, very well. Third one, let me see.
You can go to the other teams too. You can look at your other teams as well.
I think, and I think maybe some people will kill me for this one. Because Impile Ngovo, for me, is, I think, as a person or as a player that saw him come into the first team while I was at Chiefs, he's just so special. You know, he's one player that I always wish can play to his full potential, you know, or gets the chance to play to his full potential and gets the full trust, you know. He's a bit of a sensitive boy, but the talent there, the brains there. If he plays to his full potential, there's a player that the national team, I think, can really, really, really benefit from. You know, he's so good. And I think he's very rated, you know, but I hope he gets his chance, and when he gets it, he really, really shows himself, because I rate him very, very highly.
How important is the change of environment? Sometimes, I'm not saying it's in his case, but as somebody who's been at different teams, how important is the change of environment, or does that play into anything?
Look, it's a bit of, like I said, it's for me, it's 50-50. If you've done well at a club, sometimes you wanna leave because you don't wanna also ruin something that you've done so well, you know. But also, when you haven't done well and the club has taken good care of you, you also wanna give back also to the club. I think some players like him are probably there at that moment, and I think for me, he's at the right environment. I think there's no bigger institution than that one. And if you wanna really, really test yourself, that's the place to be. And if you really, really enjoy pressure, like some of us, then I think that's the right place to be. So I think it is good to change sometimes, but it's also gotta be change that will grow you. And sometimes we might think the grass is greener on the other side when they actually should be watering the grass that you have, actually, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's 50-50. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but I think that's entirely up to an individual as to how they feel. But for me, I always preferred that if I made a club and I've given my all, let me try something else, because there's no limitations. Let me try something better. But if it's not better, then why leave? No point in leaving if it's not better, especially if you're not being chased away. So I think if you're still appreciated and people still believe in you, then you stay and you fight and you show your true potential.
No, coach, I think for time's sake, I'm gonna jump in there. I've kept you way longer than I said I'd keep you
Not
here.
a problem.
Apologies, I couldn't get the members in. There seems to be a bit of an issue here, but thank you so much for coming to the show. You have no idea how much it means to have somebody of your caliber here. So from me and the Overthinkers, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, man. Keep up the good work. I always follow what you're doing, so I really enjoy your shows, and I hope it grows and grows. And hopefully one day I'll be back again and we have more time.
I will be in studio next time you come. Thank you so much, coach.
From your mouth to God's ears, my brother. Cheers, enjoy me.
Thank you, coach.
Yep.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I have to apologize. My thing was jumping around here, man. There was a lot happening while Ucoach was on, but thank you so much to Ucoach for jumping in and giving us a bit of a view into somebody who's actually coaching. I asked him to come on, and he came on. So thank you so much to Ucoach, guys. I apologize. It seems that my technology decided that they don't want to let people in. I promised my members that have some time, but it seems like there was a bit of an issue there. So thank you so much to the coach, guys. We're going to carry on with the normal show, and we're going to review what we saw from earlier this week with Orlando Pirates playing Supersport, and then Sundowns playing Royal AM. That is where we're going to go from here. Maybe we can just have a couple of words in the last few minutes where we can speak about Ucoach. You see how everything is now bet. Is there an echo, Malumekuz? Guys, is everybody getting an echo? Okay, let's see. Are we better now? Guys, we're learning to grow, guys. I'm a one-man production team, so we're gonna go from there. Okay, let me open up and then let's have a conversation. I know Coach Agaseko, but it seems that things are now working properly. Let's go from there. So let me open up, guys. We're just gonna have a couple of maybe comments of what we had just spoken about here with Ucoach. I promise that next time I will be able to open, because even now, multi-guest is not opening. You see now, hey, technology now. Okay, so guys, look, while that's not working, look, I've been trying to get a lot of coaches and people on something that I want to do, and I want to carry on our tradition of, speaking to coaches and getting in with them and actually getting some different perspectives. So that is what I'm trying to do. Believe me, I'm trying as hard as possible. So we're gonna have those things where you can also interact with the guys when they do come on, if it will work. Okay, there we go. I think we're back on. So guys, request. Let's have a couple of people, and then let's speak about what is going on here. Kumo, I tried. I'm sorry.
It's gonna fella this thing at TikTok, ne?
Every time, go in. Are you the one that's holding me back? What's happening here?
Overthinking.
How's it, guys? How's it, guys? Okay, we're gonna just go one by one. So I'll start with Kumo, Soma, and then Nico. Let me go to Kumo. Kumo, Coach Manyama was here. What did you think of the conversation we had here?
Now we took our time and the questions. No, it's fine. But I'm glad you can have such an esteemed. Now my brother my piece so I'm happy we had someone of his caliber to come and grace us presence here. Hi. It's a good shift and change from hearing Abudu Kutso's voice. Oh my word. But yeah, man, it's a it's a bummer we didn't get to ask him my question the Sundowns or why I thought like Sundowns. But yeah, man, like most of the times, as the audience members or the members of this show, we always speculate in terms of like how coaches and players feel. So it was great to actually have some proper insight from someone who actually has been a player, a legend, and also a coach. That's why when you do some things like this, we make sure we subscribe to your show because of such things, man. So yeah, if only you were nice to me, Neklo for number to be Motsepe, because you don't wanna show the Sundowns sign and sing Gabrielo. Thank you.
Let me go to the King Soma. Soma.
OT.
How are you, my brother?
OT, my brother.
Guys, please mute. Please mute. The other guys, please mute. Yes, Soma.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, my brother. Now, right?
Man, ngimnandi man Soma ngimnandi. Soma uthini ngolebza. Coach Kaka.
Firstly, I'm happy ngomanyama. After uyakhumbula amasizwa indaba ezibhlungu ukuthi ngeke aphinde adlale ibhola anymore. So uma isebuya iCape Town City imamukela back imthatha abuyela abe coach and you can tell ukuthi unama positive, you understand, positive and kukhula kufundayo and is going far. Yeah, okay. I'm happy. Yeah, and for you ukuthi usibizele abantu abafana njengabo laba mfethu big up nawe njengathi ngakhula ichallenge yakho siye phambili.
Awungawari man, kuzofika abanye. We're not going to have any problems. Let me go to Nico, just so that we can get into the other games. Nico, welcome to the show. How are you? Okay, let me go to Malum. Oh, there we go. Nico,
How's it, brother?
I'm good at you, Maji.
Sharp, brother. Brother, I hope you know everyone does Sundowns. It's a VR now.
Nee.
Got it too.
Ay. Or VR or VAR. PSL sometimes.
You're not VR. So long go VR.
I guess maybe to Mati.
Yeah. I wish. Na Sundowns I reach brag. Ni shaka kamu bona mutsotsi mo. Sundowns ya dlala, ungukele. Ungukele. Sundowns ya dlala sharp 100%. Mara go dlala le rena. Ay. Omosheka papa. Omosheka mara ke bona VR e bo ra e gona.
Yeah.
Ke a botse o mo uzogcwala ibuff. Security police search is straight. It is strong.
Yeah. Nico, it's not Sundowns. It's not Sundowns. Malume Kutso, just to have the final word here. Malume Kutso, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Hey, lengo yale ine trauma le. Ukhuluma ngomanyama yona ikhuluma ngeChiefs ne-VAR. trauma lengwenye. Lenti Sundowns imenze yona Mr. OT. Hayi, Paula sithi tutu put Nico. Akuhlanga lungihlanga. It happens to everyone. But anyway, Mr. OT, well, it's great that you had Coach Manyama on the show, Mr. OT, you know. I'm waiting for you to come near a Pirates legend. Then I will be happy, you know. But I would have loved for you to touch on the Ajax part, you know, of his career. I don't know if he was part of that team that almost won the league. So he can also touch on a heartbreak. But anyway, I'm sure he touched on the heartbreak Chiefs. Like, I arrived late, you know, Mr. OT. But for the show, I'm happy that you had someone like Umanyama. And unlike the others, I'm happy that you actually read my question. Kulokho siyabonga Mr. Uthi ngizongena kahle msisikhuluma ngebhakane.
So stay on. Guys, we're going into Pirates. So please, if you want to speak about the Pirates game that happened where Pirates played the Supersport, feel free to request. We're now going into the normal show, 25-minute panels, and then we're going to have, everybody's going to have 5 minutes. Please respect the people who are on the panel, and so that we can have a conversation. So first game's up. Pirates played Supersport. The stats reads as follows. 2-0 that Pirates won versus Supersport. 15 shots, 3 on target, 8 shots, 5 on target for Supersport, 56% possession for Orlando Pirates and 44 for Supersport. And then, of course, Pirates completed 481 passes versus Supersport's 385. Malome Kuto, how do you feel about the game that Pirates played versus Supersport?
You know, with me, Mr. Ozi, it's either I'm watching highlights or I'm at the stadium. So I had another game on the day, so I was officiating when Pirates was playing. I got to catch the highlights, even though, you know, highlights are not really a true reflection of the game. Impressed by home quarter. Looks comfortable. I think, you know, really, Mr. Uti, it's his birthday today, I think, or was it yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Yeah, happy belated birthday to him, but he's getting into a stage where he is now a real player now. He's no longer a sideshow. So he needs to finish those ones, Mr. Uti. You know, if the boys had finished those 2 chances, it's still early, but we would have been closer in terms of goal defense. Yes, we are the same, but Sundowns has scored more goals. So it would at least help us in that regard to say, okay, we are keeping up. Whether maybe the strategy is not to pass Sundowns because then we'll be under pressure, but just to keep the distance close enough, you know. Just score those chances, Mr. Uti. Make it 4-0, make it 5-0, you know. I'm happy, Uti, as a country, sisesavuma ukuthi evidence is a good striker. It took us time. As a country, sonke. These days, amabhakane just evidence. I'm so happy, Mr. Oti. Yakubonisa ukuthi in life ungamameli abantu, man, abantu abayazi into abayifunayo. Bafuna nje kube mnandi. Today, Mr. Oti, everyone is saying, asiqalele ngo-evidence.
Tell me, Malome Kuto, how important was it to win this game? Because you guys were unbeaten for a while. You lost the game versus Makesi. Now you had this game where you needed to come out and have a performance. How important was it? Because in the words of Ashraf there at WeDad, losses come with friends.
Yeah, exactly. So for a character, Mr. Wood, just to show character, even if we lose, we can get back on the bike within a space of 2 days or 3 days. It speaks a lot, Mr. Uti. It speaks a lot with to your confidence I'm a player. It adds to your confidence I'm a player. It adds to your confidence I'm a supporter. Because we're going to a testing tournament in the fashion of maybe some CAF Champions League. And we need to get these wins, Mr. Oti. We don't know how CAF Champions League is going to affect us. So while we're still absent of the pressure at CAF Champions League, we need to be winning and getting these points ASAP, Mr. Oti. So it was very important. I'm happy that we are also broadening the squad. in terms of, okay, we've noticed that the midfield three is important in the form of Makaula, Mbata, and Tito. But at least the surrounding positions, we're getting players to play and we're winning with those players, Mr. Uti. I think we've got 2 left backs that we've used this season, 2 right backs that we've used this season, and probably 4 centre backs that we've used this season. And we won all our games in the PSL. That is major for us, Mr. Oti.
Do you think that there's pressure on players like Botito, players like now Bomakaula coming back, Bombata? Do you think that there's pressure for them to keep playing? Because in as much as you've used different players, it seems like we know the first team. And how does Jose manage that rotation?
I actually think the pressure on Tito has just gone down a bit, Mr. Oti. People had started not appreciating the guy, thinking what he's doing is futile. He's now become auxiliary. His contributions are neither here nor there until that Magesi game where he came in as a sub and you started seeing this is what Tito does. We just used to it, but this is what he does for us. This is what gets us the 3 points. This is what gets us the cups. And as soon as he came back, even Makaula was going through the same thing where we were like, where's Fihla, Abombata? We were going through the same thing where we were questioning their contribution. And just one game without them, we remembered, which in as much as they might not be doing the flashy stuff, but what they do is so important to us. So I think if you say pressure with the 3 guys to say, okay, guys, now we appreciate you because Mr. Uti. People are questioning Mata, people are questioning Makaola, people are questioning Mutito for unnecessary things. I'm a Pirates fan, but Tito,
Elephant in the end.
Hey. Mr. Uti.
Yeah.
I'm a time away to Tito Manomanish. Please, guys, and I'm glad that he has proven, and I know Mapagania back on his side now.
Let me bring in Usoma. King Som, Pirates beat Supersport 2-0. How do you feel about that game?
Firstly, Ipagania ifundile yabona ilose yabo from kumagesi ithe kumvusa kancane enye into othi esiyenzayo ne iSpanish guitar sisinike mfethu ubhutu yes wenza imistake nanokulalela abalandeli kakhulu mina ngikhosi ne asben honest yabona uTito make pilots dance especially Orlando uyabona unokwazi ukuphakamisa itempo yegame ne mayebona futhi ukuthi baya attackwa he's the one out of the blue uzoshaya ijeje uzoshaya istyle yonke Orlando yaphakama leso sikhathi Pirates ivuka yonke uzobona bomfukeni uyabona nje uzobona iPirates yonke iyahlanye uyabona so iphuthe lenziwa abalandeli bePirates njengoba esho nje uKhuzo banokukhipha uTito kancane ku alignment and umfana uyayenza into asikho isidingo sokuthi size simcompare kumaswanganye then ibiblind kancane ngiyayibona ukuthi unda akekho but usibise at least le game yeSupersport he tried then ngibone no uGavin Hunt ngathi uyahluleka ukusebenzisa abafana abancane uGavin Hunt ukholelwa that's why ebuyisa amakhehle ukholelwa vele ebantwini angizothini akakwazi ukudevelop iplayer ufuna umuntu ufuna umuntu ozothi look into engiyifunayo la iwin sidlala kanje akafuna ukuthi uzothi okay uzotrapper kanje uzogebha kanje. Do you understand my point? Because most yabheka kulabafana beSupersport i-potential ikhona i-potential ikhona net anginoma mhlambe ngizothi banida a model coaching
So then then, when we look at the Pirates, that starting lineup that came out this time, you said Begain's mistake Nemakesi. What was the mistake that he made, and does it mean Guti now Abotito and Abombata have to play all of these games now going forward, and Pirates are Sabatembi, Lababai?
Not all of them. At least have DM. Ubengena i-DM. At least uyisundlondlo ke uyamtshena undlondlo. Ngicela ungenzele into esimple.
Yeah.
Uyangphorishela ne percent. I-DM udlale ngena DM. That's why imagesi yaba expose. Number 2 usibisi nomfana omncane. Usesana. Bebengana combination right ene bebeshawa yini bebeshawa ukuthi imagesi ba destroyer la ku midfielder ngoba manje abana DM kuno Kimwood attacking midfield bekuno Kabelo Dlamini attacking midfield bekunalo mfana lo bomthenga ku Supersport the same ene benza into eyi1 so akekho umuntu ohlalayo ukuthi okay mina ngizoba iDM ngiyaphorisha at least mhlawumbe uzoba no okay team Maguto okay team une injury no Makhawula akekho obvious umbatha was off nge-injury. Thatha uNdlondlo umdemisa Ndlondlo phorishela ama-defender wami la. So ngathi abasamthembu umfana.
Okay. Let me bring in Temikos. Temikos, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Ninjani OT.
Mansimnandi. Tell me, Pirates 2-0 Supersport. How do you see the game?
Well, we were under pressure to win the game. Otherwise, we were going to be the meal again for Chiefs and Sundowns supporters. We played very well. For me, it was going through motions. Aikinte special. Supersport is lahlele nje kulezi insuku. So we did what we were supposed to do. We scored goals. Could have been 4-5. Goals. But I want to go back to the point yama players angajwayelanga ukudlala kwi-Pirates who were playing against iMagesi.
Okay.
I think one thing that game revealed for me ukuthi iPirates ayinalo ibench. iPirates kusafanele ifune particularly i-attacking midfielder. Utito uma off iPirates ba off. And like you said, Oti, I think you did say it, Oti, you cannot expect these players to play every game, every Africa ibona, Kwiliki ibona. There'll be a point where Bezo Katala corner, there'll be a point where they're going to lose the form. There'll be a point la Bezo suspend wa corner. And I think Rivero needs to sort this thing out. We at the moment we tend to be relying on certain players. I think with January we need to prioritize into attacking midfielder. I'm happy with defensive midfielders, and I'm hoping at some stage Gilbert will fire in all cylinders. Yeah, I'm happy with the rest of the team, but I think there are certain positions that we need to strengthen, and we need that player Stellenbosch Utore, because Unda it looks like he usazohlala isikashana nje. Yeah, if you can get a defender and then
sign abantu in October. Look sign abantu.
OT yabona kwesinye isikhathi kuzitshela ukuthi unento kanti awunayo. Yabona that game, as I said, it's opened our eyes ukuthi hey kahle ibench asinalo la. Kim Voodoo is blowing hot and cold. You can't rely on him. Yeah, and there are certain mistakes. Urasebocha usemusha, and it will take some time for him to adapt to our style. Yeah, we do need only two players, not a lot of players. Two players which are not attacking midfield. If Utito is off or suspended or injured, and the defender as well, because Unda is out, so that's the reality. So we need a replacement.
Can I ask you then?
Team.
Can I ask? You're saying that Paris played well, but was there an issue going into halftime with one shot on target, which just so happened to be in the first minute with Mahopa, whereas the Supersport went into halftime, I think, with 3 shots, for example? Isn't that man too close? Gucci, is Supersport, if they got lucky with one of those 3 shots, it's a different game.
Pressure OT, you lost a game against Makesi, and the game that we had no business losing.
Yeah.
And now you are under pressure to redeem yourself. Redeeming yourself means that you score 1 goal, you protect the lead, you go to the second half, you're hoping to score more. We did have opportunities, by the way.
Yeah,
OT,
that's
to be
true.
first half. Yes,
That's true.
yeah, we did have opportunities, but I think what the boys did was thinking about the goal that they've scored. Hey, whatever happens here, we must not concede. Yeah, but we need to win this game to redeem ourselves and to win the trust of our supporters again. Yeah, but we lost the game. I think that that game has a much deeper impact than a lot of people are thinking. It's a Carling Cup, it's a beer cup, we didn't care about the game. My fear in football, once you start losing, losing becomes a tendency. It doesn't matter how well you are doing. Sometimes once you start losing, it becomes it gets into you, and you begin to feel the pressure and to start throwing games that you are not supposed to be throwing, losing games that you are not supposed to be losing. I think they were thinking about that. Hey, let's win this game. Let's protect the lead. And yes, we can create opportunities, but let's make sure that we protect what we have.
Okay, I want to go back to Malume Kutso. You guys are going to be playing Amazulu tomorrow. You are facing Coach Vivi, Coach Kanu, friend of the show, and also Coach Atazwane. What does Jose do in that game? Which starting lineup would you have, Malume Kutso, or how does he approach that game?
Now he plays our A team, Mr. Uti, and we beat the living daylights out of Amazulu. We don't give them a chance. We go full force. For example, Mr. Uti, and maybe Steve compared stats is a pekini. They don't reveal everything. Mr. Uti, umfuking upumile 1-on-1.
And he hit it,
with a nice pass from Nkota. Unfortunately, he did everything right in my view. He just needed lucky polarized sighting. That will count as a shot off target. It will not count as a shot on target. Now Nkota totally polar towards the penalty spot. Free, he could have chosen a spot. Will come up with it. So in as much as stats suggest that Supersport were on top of us, they were nowhere near us.
Not necessarily on top. I think my worry is that Supersport also had chances. I think they even scored a goal that was called offside, for example. Now that thing changes the whole game. That's what I'm saying, especially versus the team that's playing back. We're going to say the same thing about Sundowns when we get into the Sundowns panel just now.
No, I get what you mean. I get. Attack yet was trying, Mr. Uti. It's just that the stats don't make for good reading, but we really attacked that team, Mr. Uti. You asked me a question about Uti Landa Ganjani Amazul. We go in with our strongest lineup, Mr. Uti. We go in with our strongest lineup. We introduce Dlamini when the time is right, because Dlamini play Alemari, Mr. Uti. I hear people saying we don't have a playmaker, but Dlamini play Alemari. That guy, he makes something out of nothing, especially from the bench. So all I'm saying is, I'm hearing a sound here.
I think Kupa, just mute there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So for me, Mr. Otis, Simnand, Nomfukeng will still drop into that 10 role. I don't think we should panic. Remember, a player can have an off day.
Yeah, that's true.
And unfortunately, the off day can coincide with Tito not being in the team. We have to understand, which is just because Tito was not on the team, it does not mean that these guys are dead. It simply means that on the day, they did not come to the fore.
Yeah.
Given a different day, they can still come to the fore. We know what Mfukeng is capable of in that number 10 role. We've seen him go Kanaking, Bafana. We've seen Ukabilo Dlamini win us games before Tito's time within the team. I think he won us the Barking. He won us the Nedbank Cup from the creative area. We know Kim Vuidi as a sub, not as a starter, but as a sub, he can come in and chip in with a goal. So all I'm saying to him, it happens. I'm actually they had bad days. However, for me, I'm happy with it highlighted the strength of Tito in the same breath. But all of Mr. Uti against Amazulu, we will run riot. If I'm not game, Orlando, Mtati Flake Army, if I'm not game, but it looks like in game. Mr. Uti.
Hi man, how you get Let me go to Usoma. Soma, how should Pirates play this game, man? Bye check this game versus Amazulu.
Put ngabuya futhi ngiyabonga ukuthi ube nami namhlanje. Futhi mina yazi ngithini le first 11 lababuya kuyo. The only thing lapha ngibuyisa sniper Mabaso.
Okay.
Ngidonsa usikomota kancane ngithi mina mfana ngizokubona second half. Then angitshintshi lutho. Angitshintshi lutho. Yeah, my midfielder Mbatha, Makaula, Tito. Ngibuyisela inje ngoba injalo.
Mara, for how long? How long can that team play? How long can you play ungafaki abanye? Is there maybe something where you go maybe uthi Makaula Mbatha Rasbucha or Makaula Mbatha, you know?
For now. Sengikhulumela iSoweto. Labantu abahleli phezulu le mamelodi ne. Angifuni babe nalento le yokuthi sihlala phezulu. Mina ngikhosi but angifuni laba bale mamelodi labo. At least babe number 2, number 3, I understand. Yeah, I know they are dangerous, but number 2, number 3. Now ithemba lami manje ngiyabona ukuthi since uchef Nabi esapheka and ngiyabona kuyavuthwa na uyazibonela. Kuyaqala kuyavuthwa. Ithemba lami lingapha kumabhani ukuthi abasuke laba bantu phezulu bangabi nale confidence ukuthi yithi I understand. Ngoba manje ake sifake vele laba le combination eswinisayo. Obviously le combination eswinisayo iyo lengikhuluma ngayo esibuya ngayo egamini eSupersport. Then kuzoba nalama game lawa vele esowaqhamukela nga different dimension la sizofaka khona laba angajwayelanga ukudlala.
Okay.
Or uma ukuthi uyachinja, don't change all the midfielder.
Yeah.
Just change, maybe 1 or 2. Ubheke ukuthi uma ngifaka uRasebocha ekhona uMbatha, maybe ekhona uMakhawula, then ngizombona uTito 55 minutes is 60 minutes.
Okay. Let me bring those to because how do you approach a game, Amazulu? Do you change? Do you carry on the starting lineup? And are we gonna see or maybe this starting lineup would have to play 20 games, man, because you can't trust anyone else. How do you approach this game?
Hey, OT, unfortunately, it's the same starting lineup. Abadlali sebeyazwana. They understand each other. They did well in the previous game, so I think continuity and consistency is paramount at this stage. My Uzwane, I think the priority for Uzwane for tomorrow is to stop the rot. Whatever happens, I think what he would want, he would be happy with a draw. So there will be a bit of being cautious here and there. He might even pack his defense, we'll never know. But with vilakazi must be to attack minded. They might also choose to attack us. But I think we should be able to prevail tomorrow. I think my wish is to score as many goals as possible in the first half, so that we can rest some of the players and bring in laba bangajwayelanga ukudlala. But I think Amazon shouldn't give us a problem. We'll never know with these small teams. Like Umangoba said, Pirates tend to struggle against these small teams. When it comes to the league, OT, Quote me on this one. I'll be the first one to come here and humble myself before you if it doesn't happen.
Oh, when you start saying things like that,
this season, the league is going to be decided on the last day. If it doesn't happen, I'll be the first one to humble myself before you. I'll wash your feet. I'm prepared to wash your feet, Oti.
don't wash my
I'm
feet.
not saying
You must wash my Ngoba's feet.
No, it will be decided on the last day, my brother. There I can assure you. Let us 6 days. Let them decide if 6 days prior. I say wait.
Yeah. Okay, guys. We're gonna get into Mamelodi Sundowns now. So please request if you want to speak about the Mamelodi Sundowns game that they played versus Royal AM last night, a game that they won 2-1. 9 shots from Mamelodi Sundowns, 3 on target, 8 shots from Royal AM, 4 on target, 70% possession for Mamelodi Sundowns, and they completed 602 passes versus Royal AM's 256. So guys, feel free to jump in if you're a Sundowns fan. While I wait for those guys, Tatan Scream, guys. Tatan Scream. I like what's happening. Tatan Scream. Let's get to 60, 70,000 and go from there. If you have not followed, please follow. If you want to join the WhatsApp group is open. You have to join via YouTube. Go on over to YouTube, click on subscribe, click on join, and you'll be able to join the WhatsApp group. That's where we're going to hash it out over there. So please, Mamelodi Sundowns fans, I want you guys to jump in and let's have a convo about Sundowns, what they did yesterday. And possibly if we have time, we can also speak about what they're going to do what they're going to do in their weekend game. Let me see. Agent, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
I'm a bit busy today, but I'm good. How are you?
No, I'm good. Sorry, guys. I apologize so much. Technology was technology.
No. I understand, my G. Yeah.
Agent, Royal AM 2-1. How do you feel about that game?
Firstly, I think nothing much to write home on the game. So I'm gonna have to write something for home, So I think maybe we ought to go down memory lane and say because I think I often hear the misunderstanding of the Sundowns origin and the Sundowns style of play. And the so-called the soul of Sundowns. So I think sometimes you need to dispel those things, and because we are only 57, Shem, so we are attracting new ones. We want to be 67. So others joined us during Rulani. So we must teach them and induct them. So we should be patient, So I want to be that patient and say, guys, sometimes maybe let's teach them our history. Some are coming from Kaizer Chiefs, some are coming from Pirates. So we have to teach them the right things, So firstly, Sundowns doesn't play tiki-taka or total football, as the Dutch call it. We don't play tiki-taka, unfortunately. Sundowns plays what they call piano and shoeshine, and by the origins of piano and shoeshine, history people tell us that it originated or they learned it in Italy, by watching AC Milan and Juventus, so those are not your typical tiki-taka or total football. Now, what's the difference between tiki-taka and total football? Tiki-taka means pace, means low in. Okay, let me start with total football. Total football starts is by playing the ball slowly and efficiently in short passes, always from the building phase to the attacking phase. That is total football. That is why it's often a bit slower. Total football. Hence, if you watch the Dutch or if you watch Sundowns and Hastings, that's what we played. And then tiki-taka is a bit quicker than total football, especially the Pep one that introduced at Barcelona. But even before that, it was a bit Johan Cruyff, which was a bit slower also, but Pep introduced a bit of energy into it. Okay. So that is that. And then piano and shoeshine is building. You are dominating possession, but you are allowed a lot of diagonals. You're allowed to switch play. You will rarely see a Pep team switching play. So that is the piano and Shushan. That is it's a mixture of direct football and possession football, but with mostly dominating possession. So that is the Sundowns way. So what we did under Coach Rulani, which was very good, was that we were playing more of tiki-taka because he's a student of Pep. So we kind of deviated a bit from our tradition. But under Coach Mangoba, he's not taking away the Sundowns soul. He's retaining it the way it was under even Coach Pitso. And I always give a mention of, if you look at Coach Pitso's team, it is Tau, Bilat, Lafo, Mabunda, Kiakana, Langerman, Sumahuro, and Tete Mbekile Onyango. Who are the ball players there? None of them.
Front four and back six, basically.
Yeah. You see? No, your Zwanis and of those world, Even the comedies had to adapt to that and be a bit quicker, So this is the Sundowns way, guys. Yeah. So I just wanted to just clarify that Mangoba, yes, he has combined Rulani's things and what things, but this is the Sundowns way. Yeah, but like I said, last game, nothing to write home. It was a heavy rotated side. We took the 3 points, others rotate, and they don't take 3 points. They even lose. So, yeah, nothing to write home.
But I want to talk about the last part of games, because there's a pattern that's appearing that Sundowns becomes a little reckless towards the end of games. How do you feel about that, where teams are getting chances? You see teams starting to play. Sundowns loses the ball a lot. That last 25 minutes, man, 25 to 30 minutes. How do you feel about that time?
No, man, I think it's something that he needs to work on. Because you look at Chiefs, you look at Gallant, you look at Royal EMs. Those 9 points quickly convert to 3 points very quickly. And then you're under the cosh. So I think he needs to correct that. I'm forgetting the game, actually. It might have been Supersport, where the tempo went down, he introduced subs, and all of a sudden the tempo went up, Just like yesterday, the tempo was down, made a sub, and went up. And we congratulated him and applauded him for doing that he was reactive in terms of such. He's not just waiting for the 65th minute. So I think he has now turned to a traditional coach where he waits for a certain time instead of just implementing changes the moment the tempo drops. I think it's a case of working with the mentality, but I think because of the intensity that you play with, it's a case of changing personnel early. Yeah.
Okay, guys, Lindo Pep show is going to be starting at 9 o'clock. So at 9 o'clock, feel free to change on over to @Lindo Pep. That's where you'll find the TTB show. Let me go to Tipper Truck Business. But whether you come back and leave and come back, my brother. Aye, man.
No, I was busy, too busy, my brother.
Tell me, I'm good. These days we're playing. But anyway, tell me, how do you feel about Sundowns' win versus Royal AM?
I looked at what Sundowns is doing. I believe sometimes the coach has personal vendettas with his other players, like Bolewo Khamko. Very personal. You can't keep a good man, a good player down. How do you keep a player like that on the bench? How do you not play such a player like that? I mean, Mangoba, seriously, let's be honest with ourselves. You can see what Mokwena can bring to the team. But you bring players that are, maybe he's trying to bring his own style, but how long? I mean, he's predictable. We now predict him even when we're sitting on the bench. We look at Sundowns, we say, this Sundowns is too predictable. It's a very easy one. Or maybe he's building something, but now it's not time to build, because now he must beat Roland's record. If he doesn't do that, I'm telling you, his door is finished. And look at the way they play. I'm not impressed. If they fight Pirates or Chiefs, I'm telling you. Sundowns will feel it.
But then aren't you happy?
We're not trying to impress, we're trying to win.
Aye, Lebza. But I want to ask, He's winning though. Are we not maybe taking away that he's winning? He's scored more goals at times. He rotated this team. They still won. How do we feel about that? Or he's winning though?
It's how you win. You know, you can't break what works. He's breaking what worked for Sundowns for years, what Rulani has built. And you come in and you just break it. And you come with, you know, they say you come in a operation is operating well, and you think, oh, I can do better. You bring players and all that and let it run. Yes, you can win on small teams and all that. The big team will punish you. I am telling you, Chiefs is going to punish Sundowns. They will never believe it. And you know what Sundowns is thinking about now? They're thinking about Sarenio. We're going to mark this guy. But things can change there. You know, Nabi is not stupid. He knows who the target man is Sarenio. He makes the play, he makes the moves and all that. But definitely, if you look at how Mangoba is just dismantling what was working, it is, he thinks, okay, he can win now, but come to Pirates and Chiefs and bigger team, Supersport is gonna hit him also. And what's another team which is also good? What do you call it? Cape Town City is also good, but the way he's dismantling that team, trying to prove a point where he's gonna bring his own players and play with his own players he trusts. I tell you, travel.
So okay, let me ask. What is his mandate for this season? For you?
Look, his mandate is one. If you look at it, his mandate is I can do what Rulani can do. Right? First mandate. Right? Second mandate is go, I can win the CAF. Right? They've given him the budget. He's got the budget. He's got it. Right? But his mandate now, if you look at it, he's putting players that Rulani was putting them second half. He's giving them full time to prove themselves. Right? To say, look, I believe in you that you can work all your Matthews. You know, Rulani used to give them a chance. You know, give them the chance. And who's that middle fielder who plays in the middle? Who's that? The young guy, the one who ties his hair. What is his? No, not the one. What is his name?
Allende.
Allende is playing a different position now. He's no more. That guy is a ball player in the middle of park, spreading the balls. Now he's on a sideways. So we don't know what's happening there. We don't know what's happening. Motaung was on the bench the last game.
Yeah.
Motaung is no more playing the way we used to know how he plays. Motaung, I don't know, he's just scrappy. He's scrappy now. He's forcing things. He's scrappy. Let's be honest with ourselves. Motaung is scrappy now. He's no more clinical on the touchline, performing the way he used to. Now he's scrappy. I don't know, he's lost. I don't know what's going on. But it is very crucial that the coach himself, he must go reflect. Don't compete with the previous coach. Carry on. Carry on. Thank you.
No, thank you, Cheaper Time Truck Business. Let me go to Ulebza. Lebza, welcome to the show. How are you?
Re kwa mehlolo mo shong ya hao e. Hai.
Lebza.
Ke tse di bolelwa mo ke mehlolo fela wa tseba. Like yes, I'm shocked. I'm hearing the stories or mang dismantling what, mang o changing winning what. What football are people watching? Last year, we spent a great deal of time complaining about holding the ball and not doing anything with it, not entering the box, not scoring. We struggled to score a lot of games. We drew a lot of games. The games that we drew last year, we are winning them this season. And we are coming and attacking the box, creating chances, hitting goals, scoring. There's only 3 games where we haven't scored 4 or more. The rest we've scored 4 or more goals. And in those other games where we haven't scored 4, we scored 2 goals. And as long as we are outscoring the opponent, that's all that matters. Of course, we don't want to concede, but if we are to concede, the best position to be in when you concede is to be ahead with a lot of goals. And then we can concede that one goal or two as long as we are leading the opponent and we win the game. That's all that matters. Sundowns hasn't changed a lot. It has changed the transition from our box to the opponent's box, the speed with which we do that. And that's something that we were complaining about last season. The change that has been made is to help us get quicker inside the opponent's box. And that is a positive change. That's what we need. What are people looking for? Right now, last season, we had a whole lot of players fatigued. Because there was no rotation at all. Whenever Rulani did a rotation, we would lose, we would draw games and we would struggle to win. We would have so many issues with the team. Right now, a rotation happens and we win. A rotation happens, they bring in fringe players and we still win. So for me, this hullabaloo about he's trying to compete with Rulani, that man won MTN 8 by himself at Golden Arrows. What's he going to compete with Rulani with? So this story, we give credit to Rulani for his work and all of that, but we need to squash this noise very quick. Sundowns is a very big institution. It played this football long before Rulani was born. We keep on playing it even now. So
how much of this, Lebza, how much of this is PR? And how much of this is maybe how people view Mangoba, not necessarily the games? If that makes sense.
It's just thing is, what I've realized is people will, Sundowns fans will adopt to Mangoba soon enough. I was one of the people that had doubts initially, but I'm more than happy with what he has done so far. And I think others that are not Sundowns fans are hurt by how direct he is when he speaks. Like after beating Chiefs 5-1, he's like, you know what, it could have been 6, eh? It could have been 6. We should have scored more and all of that. Like that confidence, it rubs other people off the wrong way. And we've got a coach who loves Sundowns and does not have some sort of allegiance to a certain club. Now people are catching hands. They said the previous speaker said Supersport is gonna hurt us. We've just beaten Supersport. Kaizer Chiefs is gonna beat us. We beat Chiefs 2-1. I don't understand where this is coming from. I mean, every year we hear the same story. Sundowns is gonna do this. It's gonna be beaten by this. It's gonna be found out by this team. Blah blah blah. We keep on hearing the same thing over and over. But now we've got a man who knows how to attack the box in Coach Mangoba, and we're gonna see exactly that throughout the season. We said it when the team was in pre-season that Sundowns now is very intentional about getting inside the box. And that's all we care about. We passed the ball last season, but we didn't score. But this time, we are keeping the ball. Which team has taken possession from us this season? There's none. We still have possession, just that now we are more lethal in attack.
Okay.
So I don't understand this story about Sundowns. Hey, mamang, hey, what. It's just noise.
Let me go to Surprise. On that note, Surprise, how do you feel about this conversation we're having, but also about the game that Sundowns played versus Royal AM?
Agent, how are you, my man? Hey, sorry, man. Agent, I just want to thank Agent for defending Mangoba, man. Agent, like, I was one of those people who underestimated Mangoba. I thought that he didn't know what he's doing. So That is why I want to thank the guy. So about yesterday's game, Mr. OT, a win is a win, man. Whether you win by an inch or by a mile, a win is a win. So I'm grateful for that. And another thing, the subs made a difference, especially Mapena. The boys underrated. There are a lot of underrated players who go Sundowns and but
Who's better? Before you move there, who's better, Letaku or Mapel? For you?
I haven't seen Letaku that much, but I have seen enough of Mapena. So it's very hard for me to say who's best and who's not. But each and every player is unique in their own way. And a lot of people, man, underestimate Mamelodi Sundowns. By far, this is the most dangerous team in the league. The second one, Pirates. I'm not sure about Kaizer Chiefs. I haven't seen danger from Yon. Sorry to throw shade at you.
I was just sitting here minding my own business, trying to run a show.
Sorry, man. Hey, it's just that, Chiefs inspires us, ne, as a nation. Yeah, because
don't try to be nice now. Hey, don't try to be nice now. You threw shade. Don't be nice now.
But Chiefs has a lot of fan base, and I wish Mamelodi Sundowns could have that. Yeah, right. And I'm here to declare, I'm a 57th fan, by the way.
but then tell me, when you look at Umangoba, actually, when you look at Rulani, how much of what we think of Rulani is just marketing? I remember a lot of games where Sundowns was not there for 90 minutes. They had the ball, they were doing Mara. Never say up until a defender slipped, or he used to put on attackers at the end of the games and nick games, got 1-0. Why are people remembering it differently? Or is it that we don't necessarily care about the results? We just wanted the play?
No, I think a lot of people, arena football knowledge, Mr. OT. Me myself included. Now, from now on, I care about the result. I care about the score. I don't care about the possession. I only care about the score. That's it. And people yesterday, Barba won Coco Melon football. What is that? I get football. I get ball Sundowns. Hey, I get Coco Melon football. I get Mangoba ball. I know one of the teammates editwa. It's just that Mangoba, he's using a lot of pace compared to the previous coach.
Yeah, can I ask what is Mangoba's standing in history? Sundowns, because sometimes it feels like people jump from Pitso and go straight to Rulani. They don't acknowledge Mangoba that much. Is Mangoba rated, man?
Underrated, Mr. OT. Underrated. You know why? He's not vocal, Lele Nangere. It's his personality. Like they rule from the shadows. And those people, they are the ones who are dangerous because they don't get credit.
Yeah.
So the reason why we recognize Pitso and Mangoba, those people, they were vocal in the media.
The last thing I want to ask you, Polokwane City, what do you think Coach Mangoba must do versus Polokwane City? Must he stick with this team? Must he go back to the A team, quote unquote? How do you feel he must approach this game at Polokwane?
I keep on rotating, even if we draw. Keep on rotating because we have a lot of games ahead and we're going to need a lot of players. Now one is injured and it's one of our key players. What if Ribeiro gets injured? What are we going to do? Who's the replacement for Ribeiro? So we haven't figured out much about this new system. But game ya Polokwane City, ke bona straight win mona. As usual.
Nah, I like it when bookies expose themselves, when bettors expose themselves. Not a straight win, not a straight win. Then you must know, right? Come on to my betway. Surprise! Thank you so much, Surprise, for joining me. Guys, okay, this is how I'm gonna close it off. I think for me, we'll start with Sundowns. But guys, man, what does Mangoba have to do, guys? What does Mangoba have to do? It feels like it's a damned if you will, damned if you don't situation. But what I'm also seeing from Mamelodi Sundowns is that all the questions come in the beginning. It's almost like as the Sundowns coach, you have to prove yourself. Do you know what's incredible about what Mangoba has done in the past months or the months that he's been head coach? I think people forget that Rulani got a good 6 or 7 months as the head coach with a team before hitting a preseason and then bringing in chameleon football. So for me, it seems like there was a good 7 months of preparation where he looked at the squad and he said, okay, Diamond is like this, the Diamond is weak here, and I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I'm looking at the players. Then he got also a preseason, then he went into the season and did his invincible stuff. Coach Mangoba has almost changed the way that Sundowns plays from the chameleon to what he's playing in a matter of months. Not only has he done that, think of it. For most of that time, Abo Mokwena and Abo Mdawo were on the bench. He brought in Abo Lithaku, Abo Tiwane. He's brought in Abo Reyners who had just landed. He's given Abo Matthews a chance to come in and stake their claim. Now he's even reverting back and now bringing back Abo Mokwena. Well, not reverting back, but he's now bringing back Abo Mokwena, Nabo Mdawo, Nabo Shalulile, Nabo Banban. I think that is incredible, to be honest with you. When you look at the game versus Royal AM, I think Sundowns, heavy rotation does what heavy rotation does. This is why I give credit to Mamelodi Sundowns over the past few years where they're still able to go almost invincible, to go and win games, take draws and make them into wins when they shouldn't be winning those games, having rotated squads and all of that. It's the reason why I would give credit to Pirates for having, even trying to rotate versus Makesi, but also coming out and winning their normal games. It's incredible to try to do what these guys are trying to do. I think Mamelodi Sundowns is very dangerous this year. They've got teeth. The only problem that I have with Mamelodi Sundowns, if I'm 100% honest with you, last 30 minutes of games. The last 30 minutes of games, Sundowns tends to lose control. And I think Coach Mangoba has tried to do it in a way that he's going to bring in players that are going to up the tempo. And when they up the tempo, in as much as the tempo gets high and they do tend to get goals in that time, I think the other teams start playing. We speak about Chiefs that, for example, that could have been a draw at the end of that game. We speak of Gallants who they went 4-0 down and the work was done, but they had a ton of chances towards the end of the game that they played. You speak of this Royal AM game where Royal AM scores 90 plus 2, almost get a chance to score 90 plus 4, I think 2 minutes later. They had chances where Ronwen had saved some balls, right? I would love to see them at the end of games, keep control, play it, man, play it, starve the opposition of chances. Because the big thing at Sundowns and the big problem that they had for me, it's not that the chameleon is better than the diamond or Mangoba's fast football is better than the previous football or it must change or whatever. Sundowns just struggle to finish off games in the important games. Sundowns have lost in the Champions League, Kari last minute. They've lost versus Pirates, Kari last minute. So the focus for me for Sundowns wasn't necessarily that you need to overhaul the whole system. It's when you get into those last few minutes, the last 25 minutes or whatever, right? That's where the important games have been won and lost for Sundowns. That's the games where they've been frustrated and now you haven't been able to make it to a final. And that's where teams like Ahly and ES Tunis and those type of teams, they take advantage of teams. Last minute. When it comes to Orlando Pirates, just for time's sake, when it comes to Orlando Pirates, the game that they played versus Supersport United, Pirates had to get back on the horse. To quote Coach Rulani, losses come with friends. The moment you start losing, it may become a pattern. And I think Jose Rivero, the one lesson that he learned from the Magesi game, or the big lesson that you should take away, is that I've got a lot of players that are very talented, but they're not at the level yet where I can leave them alone on the pitch. So if you are going to bring in people, you have to do it the same way that you did with Abo Sesane. Sesane plays with Nda. That's why he looks so good. Tito and Mfukeng have a relationship. That's why Mfukeng looks a lot more comfortable at times when Utito's on the pitch. You have to have Mbata played with Makaula, a more experienced player example. The worry, I guess, for Pirates is going to be that first team that you have. How many times can you play that first team before something happens? And I think what Jose needs to learn, or what Jose needs to start doing, is take a leaf from Coach Mangoba's book. Bring in, have Kim Viudi play with Mbata and Makaula if you want to give Kim Viudi game time and get him fresh. Bring Rasibucha on with the Makaula or with the Mbata and keep Tito on the pitch so that they don't have that much pressure on them. You know, at the back, I guess you can't do much at the back because Pirates' defense is the defense and they have injuries. But I think you need to start blooding in players that way because it's going to be a long season. And what you don't want to have is the situation that Mamelodi Sundowns had at the end of the season last year, where they were complaining about fatigue, where they were complaining about all of these different things. That is what Pirates needs to focus on. I am very happy with the Pirates because you see that game that they lost versus Supersport. I don't remember Pirates losing because they were outplayed in the game. Like where last season in the games that they lost, where they were outplayed, we didn't see Pirates. Pirates could argue that those games that they lost last season, you think about Cape Town Spurs and those ones, they were in the game, right? They were in the game for a long time. But the worry is you go in versus Supersport with a 1-0 win or the 1-0 scoreline and find Mfukeng missed chances and things like that, but you scored through Mahopa. But then Supersport had 3 chances of their own and could have also, if we're playing the what-if game of Pirates had chances, you have to play the what-if game of Supersport had 3 chances that by fluke, it could hit somebody and go in, it could do whatever, right? But then what happens is, now that game is a completely different game. It's a 1-1. And you don't have the luxury of scoring in the last minute. So that's what Pirates needs to watch out for. But again, I'm very glad that at this point, at this point, they are winning those tough games that they're not meant to be winning. The fact that they've lost only 1 game in 12 or something like that so far, I think that's an incredible return. How long can you do it without getting those other players ready? I don't know. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. For those who missed out on the first part of the show, we had Coach Lebogang Manyama here speaking to us. He actually gave us a lot of time. Thank you to the coach. You can watch that on YouTube. It will be there in full. So please, you can go there. And then, guys, Ulindo, there he is in the comments. Like I said earlier, Ulindo is starting at 9 o'clock, the TTB show. So he's going to be jumping in. Please support us, guys. Follow if you have not followed. Monday to Thursday, 7 o'clock, I am here. Unless there's a watch along. If Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, or Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, Bafana, Banyana Bastyle, or UWC are playing when they go to the Champions League, of course. I will be here doing a watch along. So tomorrow we'll be here 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. We're going to be doing a watch along, starting with Banyana playing Denmark, if I'm not mistaken, and then we'll lead into the Pirates game. They're starting at 7:30 versus, I believe, Amazulu. So please support us, man, and also support the content. I drop content on my channel a lot. So if you want to know exactly how I feel about these games, I have videos up on my YouTube. This place is for us to discuss football amongst ourselves and have deeper conversations about this game that we love, the South African game, the African game. And every now and then we go go overseas. If you want to join the WhatsApp group, Lindo Pep is there, Malume Kuto is there, Agent is there, Lebza is there, Velile is there. There's a lot of people that you guys hear that are there. We have some of the most incredible conversations happen in that WhatsApp group. If you want to join, on my YouTube channel, The Overthinking Football Show, click on subscribe, click on join. And when you click on join, you'll be able to, in the members area, get the link to come into the WhatsApp group. In the WhatsApp group, it's 24/7. It's voice notes, it's banter, it's pictures, it's long messages. There's no limits in that WhatsApp group. So please join there. But guys, Lindo Pep is starting now. So head on over to him at Lindo Pep. He's going to be live right now. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 6 p.m. Bye, everyone.